Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we have a 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 and we're going to be taking a look at and I'm going to show you how to install the Firestone Air Helper Springs. Whenever you're hauling a load in the bed of a truck or behind the truck, a lot of these vehicles, especially this Denali version, are going to be very soft suspension so that you have a more comfortable ride when you're not hauling anything. Well, the problem with that softer ride is that you can't really get the best of both worlds. They make the trucks so they're comfortable for people to drive them without a load, but then they don't have any support when you want to tow a trailer. Well, this truck belongs to a friend of mine, and he has a fifth wheel trailer that he wants to pull down the road that has a GVWR of 16,000 pounds. So he's going to have a lot of pin weight on the back of this truck, and that's why he's adding these airbags so that he can get the back of the truck up to a more comfortable ride height so that it's not buried in the front of the truck back onto the ground. There are going to be some other options on our website for rear suspension enhancements. I would say this is going to be your most adjustable version. We've got sumo springs, timbrins, those are your non-adjustable. They're basically just a bigger jounce bumper. But these being airbags, you can add and subtract air to really give yourself the ride that you want. These airbags are going to mount to the bottom side of the jounce bumper perch, and it's going to mount to the top of our axle. So it's going to physically limit the travel of the bottom of the truck from sagging any further than what you want it to. So if you want a little bit stiffer ride, you can add a little bit more PSI. If you think it's riding a little too stiff and bouncing too much, then you can take a little bit of air out. These airbags are going to have a double convoluted design, which essentially means it has two bubbles that are going to be separated with a single band in the middle. They are designed like that so that they act more of a spring and they go straight up and down, rather than if it was just one big airbag, that bubble would have a tendency to rock back and forth, and you don't want that. This is going to help to provide that stability you need in the back of your truck. The load carrying capacity of these airbags are going to be more than enough for the back of this truck to be able to handle, being a 3/4 ton. But it just goes to show you how Firestone tests their stuff to be rated for that amount. So you'll be more than safe even if you max out this truck. I highly recommend pairing a onboard air compressor with this kit. That brings me to my next point. Adding an onboard air compressor is really going to help you to use these bags as much as you can. I've had airbags on my truck with and without an onboard air compressor, and I can tell you it is a huge pain to have to air up those airbags with either a manual bike pump or find a gas station. You might think to yourself, well, it's easy enough. I'll just fill it up before I leave to go pick up whatever load I need. First thing that happens with that is now you have to drive with the rear end of your truck being very stiff if you're going to pick up something that's really heavy. And then what happens if you get there and you didn't quite put enough air in it? You know, so it's best if you can just have the air with you and air it up and air it down as many times as you need to in order to get that right ride quality. As this kit sits by itself, you will get two manual inflation valves that will install onto the bracket they give you that will zip tie to your hitch receiver. This is really nice to have on the back here, so if you ever do have your air compressor go out, or if you don't have one, you don't want to get one, you can just air them up here with that either a bike pump or a hose at your shop or at your garage. Now, after having gone through those details, we're going to go ahead and show you the installation. If you watch the installation, you decide that you don't want to tackle this process yourself, feel free to check out our dealer locator on our website to find a dealer closest to you that can do this installation. To begin our installation, we're going to need to remove our heat shield. We got our spare tire out of the way. Taking the heat shield off is going to give us better access to the passenger side airbag that we'll have to put up there. We're already going to have to fight the exhaust a little bit. You don't want to have to fight this heat shield. Take a 13mm socket and remove the two bolts that are holding this heat shield up in place. Next, we're going to have to take a flathead screwdriver or a pry bar, and you'll want to pry these out of here. I'll probably end up grabbing a pry bar, but if you don't have one at home, you can get them out with a screwdriver. These are pretty new. Our truck's only got a couple thousand miles on it, so they should come out a little bit easier. And this black goo that they have on the frame rail, I guess there's some up in there too, kind of helps it come out. So we'll just do this to both sides. So we've got a little bit of space to work here, but to create a little bit more, we're going to put a jack stand underneath our hitch receiver. and lift up on the back of the truck about 2 to 3 inches. If you can get 3 inches, it definitely helps to make for more room to be able to put that bag assembly in there. We're just using a pull jack here. If you're doing this from the ground at home, which there's a good chance that you are, just use a regular floor jack, lift up on the back side here, and you should be more than fine. To start assembling our driver's side bag, this process is going to be the same for either one. The passenger side just gets a heat shield. We're going to take our top bracket like this, with this hooped portion facing up. We'll take these. You want to make a ring that looks just like this. This part is going to grip around our jounce bumper perch. We'll take these flathead bolts, slide them up, and then follow it up with a flange nut. I've got the other 3 done already, just to make it a little bit faster to show you. But that's what they're going to look like. These are so that you can adjust them in and out. We can get our bracket flat up against our frame rail so that the whole thing is secure, and then this is going to clamp down around that perch. So we can lift it up into place, and if you're careful with it, you can open it up, try to rotate the outside in first, which is this side here. Rotate it up, slide these in towards each other. Again, if you're careful, we can leave it right there until we get our other bolts. Next, we'll take the small black bolts that come in our kit, and I say small as in diameter. They are about 2 inches long, and then the smaller flange nuts. We're going to slide these in. When we tighten these up, we'll have one on this side, one on the other side. When you tighten them up, you want to do it evenly so that we have even pressure on both of the brackets. You want to use a 7/16 socket and a 3/8 wrench to be able to tighten these down. Then we'll grab a 7/32 Allen wrench. We're going to snug up this hardware underneath here. You want to be sure that this bracket up here is tied up against the frame. Come back with the torque wrench and torque these down to the specifications in our instructions. We're going to take our air fitting, put it in the top of our airbag. You'll see this white sealant here. You just want to run this in until that you can't see the white sealant anymore. We're using a 14mm socket to do this. Next, we're going to take our lower bracket. It doesn't matter which one you use, they're the same shape. We'll take our short black flathead bolt, twist this into place or thread it in. We're going to leave this loose for now, and then we'll lift up our airbag, kind of get it matched up, see where our bracket's going to fit best, which side we want it to be closest to, how the airbag's going to be turned and oriented on here, and then we'll put a mark on the bracket, take it back off, tighten this down, and we can put it back up. And we're going to take our airbag. When you lift this up into place, just squeeze it with your hands. We'll slide it over that lower spot where our jounce bumper used to hit our frame. And when you lift it up into place, you notice you can turn it. What we're going to do is you want to orientate it to where it's going to hit the best spot here. And it locks in there. But I think it fits the middle one best, which is right there. So what we'll do is take this lower bracket, we're going to pull it all the way this way towards the center of the truck, and then for this airbag, we'll sort of make sure that it is going to be centered on this plate. So we've got it right there. What I'm going to do is I'll put a couple of reference marks, put a mark there with a marker and a mark here, take it off, and then tighten that lower bolt. We'll also want to torque this bolt to the specifications and the instructions. Once you've got that done, just take your airbag. We're going to put it back up into place. Then you'll want to take your J-hooks. That'll go underneath this perch. We'll take the carriage bolt, slide it in through the top, and then we're going to follow it up with a flange nut. We're going to do this on both sides, and again, when tightening these down, you want to be sure that you're doing both sides, a little bit at a time. You don't want to put too much pressure on one side or the other. And we're going to use a 9/16 wrench in order to tighten these down. Next, we'll take the star washer and our big nut that comes on our kit. We're going to slide it over top of the fill port, and then we'll thread our nut into place. This can be a bit challenging depending on how this bracket is sitting with this, as we just experienced right there, is that the points on the nut can hit that a little bit, but just be patient and you should be able to turn it. You may have to grab a wrench in order to get it to turn past that. We're using an 1 1/8 wrench in order to do this. Once you get the driver's side done, you want to repeat that same process on the passenger side. The only difference, like we said earlier, is going to be this heat shield right here. You do not want to forget to put that in place. It goes between the top of the bag and the bottom of that bracket. It has a big opening in it to be able to slide it in. You can pull it closer to the exhaust, closer to the bag, whichever. I like to kind of put it right in the middle so that it looks uniform when it's installed up there. With both of our bags installed, now is the time to start running your air lines. You can run your air lines to the back to a manual fill, which you'll get a bracket in your kit to be able to do that. Or you can start installing your air compressor. We are putting an onboard air compressor on this so that the owner of this vehicle can air up their bags and let out the air as they will if they're headed down the road or hauling a different load here and there. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and run these lines as if they are going to be manual fill, just so that you can see that, and then we'll go ahead and do the air compressor after that. To run your air lines, you're just going to need to make a nice clean cut on one end of the airline tubing. And then for your fitting, which you can hopefully see there above our airbag, we can show you on the driver's side if that works a little bit better. There you go. This fitting, what you do is you cut a nice clean cut on our airline, and the reason you want it to be nice and clean is so that it goes in here and the O-ring seals it properly. Push down, it'll go in about 1/8 of an inch. You'll push down a little bit further and it'll pop like another 1/8 of an inch further in this fitting. And then what we'll do is just run our airline all the way back to the back of the truck, and we're going to do that for both sides. Now with our airlines, both of our airlines installed on our bracket, we just attached it to the hitch with the zip ties that are included. They're really big zip ties. They're nice because they hold them in place while you're putting air in them. We're going to take these two caps off, and we're going to put some air in it and test the airbags for any leaks. With some soapy water and some air in our airbags, I got about 50 pounds in them. When you got a manual fill, it's pretty easy to check them because you just have to check the valves on top of the bags, or the fittings on top of the bags. So spray it with some soapy water, and what you're looking for is some rapid, large or small bubbles to be forming at the top right here where the hose meets the fitting. If we don't see any on this one, we'll test the other one. And then you also want to be sure to come back here and test these fittings since we had to install those ourselves. Once you've tested your airbags, you've either found out there's no leaks or you fixed the ones that you have found. That's going to do it for the installation. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Firestone Air Helper Springs is right for you in your 2024 GMC Sierra 2500.